All right, here we go. What is up, guys? We are back with another episode of The Rundown. I'm your host, Ben Peterson, alongside co-host Justin Tavner. Justin, my friend, how are you doing today?
Doing good, doing good. Got the NBA play-in tournament and in the playoffs coming up soon, so looking forward to those. But other than that, doing good, man.
Yes, sir. We excited for that. So we got a lot of fun stuff for you guys this week. Obviously it's kind of a down week almost, as we're kind of ramping up for the NBA playoffs. The regular season just ended. Obviously, college basketball's over. Baseball, and then we
Hey,
had
watch
like
it.
the we had like the WNBA draft and stuff. So why don't we actually start with baseball? As breaking news: Los Angeles Dodgers superstar Shohei Ohtani was robbed of $16.5 million by his interpreter. His interpreter used that money to place bets. I saw somewhere that he made like 128 million and lost 140 million. um, I did see that none of those bets were on baseball, and that Otani cooperated with the feds, gave his phone over for that to investigate, and they seem to have found no wrongdoing on Otani's part. But Justin, I mean, how terrible to think that you can trust someone like an interpreter who, I mean, let's be honest, you move to another country, your interpreter is like your lifeline. So for him to just do that, that's rough.
Yeah, dude. Especially with Shohei Ohtani's the face of Major League Baseball, and him not being able to speak a whole lot of English, coming to a foreign country, you kind of rely on these resources to kind of help you through stuff. And a lot of these big names, not just in sports but in Hollywood and just these very wealthy people, they don't look at their bank accounts. They
No,
don't.
absolutely not.
I mean, when you have millions of dollars in your bank account, you don't care. You don't have to go spend, you don't look at it to go spend $200,000 on a car. You're just like, oh, whatever, just have my accountant look at it.
Yeah.
um
I mean, Shohei's next
so
contract
it's
is like 10 years, 700 million.
Yeah, I mean, he's literally making like $70 million a year. So it's just crazy that this happened to one of the biggest stars in recent MLB history.
Absolutely, for sure. No, like you said, I mean, he's not checking his bank account. And in reality, I mean, with as much money as he's making, 16.5 million sounds like a lot to the average listener. But, you think about it, like you said, he's making 70 million a year. I mean, he's made what, 200, $300 million so far in Major League Baseball? More than that, I'm sure,
Yeah,
right? Like, 16.5 million is like if somebody stole 20 bucks from you and I, like,
yeah, you're just gonna be like, all right, whatever. Like, probably will hardly even notice it.
right. I did see, I think it was Colin Cowherd was reading some of the texts that, like they were sent, and he was basically like, LMAO, I'm stealing from Shohei. Like, this is his money. I'm not very good at this betting stuff. Like, come on, bro. Like, how stupid are you? But it's sad to see. I'm really glad to see that Shohei isn't involved, as that was kind of my main worry, was that maybe he had just gotten in with the wrong crowd. And, at least it wasn't a Calvin Ridley situation where wasn't betting on his own sport. So, no. That was crazy. Next, man, dude, I remember Lob City bringing us some fun memories. They never won anything because, well, Doc Rivers, but I, loved seeing Blake Griffin out there dunking on people. Truly one of the like more hyped up prospects, like just on sheer athleticism alone. Because when he came out of college, he was an awful shooter. Um, and then he somehow changed his game and honestly extended his career another 6 to 7 years. But happy retirement to Los Angeles Clippers legend Blake Griffin. Justin, what were your thoughts on that news?
Yeah, dude, it was sad. I mean, growing up watching him when I was 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, and just seeing him throw down just like the nastiest, meanest, most ferocious dunks, in the last like 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's just it's tough seeing a guy go like that. but wish him all the best, and happy retirement.
For sure. I hate that he never won a ring. Like,
Yeah.
if there are a handful of players that I wish I could have seen win a ring, and obviously like everything happened the way it did, and there wasn't anybody beating Golden State or Cleveland in that like 6-year run, but he's one of those players. It's like him, Russell Westbrook, a couple other guys that were just so much fun to watch that I wanted to see win a ring. And I mean Russ still has a chance, but sad to see Blake not win one. So happy retirement to him, like you said, and all the best for him moving forward. On to our next topic. Caitlin Clark, Cameron Brink, and Camila Cardoso were the top 3 picks in the WNBA draft, surprising, I think, absolutely no one. Anyone who kind of followed women's basketball knew that those were the biggest 3 names. Angel Reese, honestly, probably could have been a top pick, but she kind of played her way out of that, I feel like, this year. In the shocking news of the year, the Indiana Fever selected Caitlin Clark from Iowa first overall. I know that's just such a surprise to you.
This is brand new information.
Right. So dang, dude, I tried to look up Caitlin Clark's stats on the ESPN app, and it's pulling up her freaking Indiana Fever stats. Dang it.
You mean the zeros across the board because
Right.
she hasn't played a game yet?
Right. Anyway, Caitlin Clark, she was one of the most electric prospects in women's basketball history. It's been a long time since we've seen someone as hyped as she was. You think even like Sabrina Ionescu and Brianna Stewart, they didn't get the kind of treatment that she did in terms of just sheer like magnitude. Like, it genuinely felt like we were watching Steph Curry, like 2.0. I think that's going to be a great pickup for the Indiana Fever. And I saw that they immediately went from like no games on TV, like no televised games like on national TV to like, I think they got like 5 or 6 now.
Yeah, and her jersey sold out in less than an hour. Yeah.
Real quick, I saw that the WNBA draft on Monday night set a record of 2.45 million viewers. To put that into perspective, last year's WNBA draft was 572,000. The previous WNBA draft record was 601,000 in 2004, when UConn's Diana Taurasi went number 1 overall. So they went from 601,000 to 2.45 million. Now, that doesn't show you what the star power we've been talking about the last few weeks on this podcast in women's college basketball. If that doesn't show you what kind of draw that can have, I don't know what will. Cameron Brink went second to the Los Angeles Sparks. She played for Stanford. She was super good there. And then the Chicago Sky took Camila Cardoso third from South Carolina. So, Justin, I wanted to ask you, which one of these players do you think will make the most impact immediately for their teams?
It's hard not to say Caitlin Clark just because of how electric she was.
Because it's Steph Curry.
Yeah. So to go a little different, I'm gonna say Camila Cardoso, just because you are going to pair her with Angel Reese because she also got drafted by Chicago.
That's gonna be nasty.
And I just think that's gonna be a nasty front court for Chicago. I just don't know who's gonna be able to out rebound that. You got 2 just absolute dogs down there. So I think they're going to be really fun to watch, and I think that they're going to be able to kind of turn the sky around, hopefully. The sky will become blue.
I see what you did there. Yeah, no, I definitely think I agree. I will say I think Cameron Brink is going to have a big impact too, because that's one thing that the Sparks lacked was size, and they just need that impact player in the middle, and I think Cameron Brink will bring them that. I think everyone is in agreement. It's probably going to be Caitlin Clark. But man, I'm just like, I don't think I have, and this is going to sound bad, I genuinely don't think I have ever been excited to watch WNBA games, but seeing these girls specifically,
I might have to tune into a few.
Yeah, seeing these girls specifically get drafted and having followed their careers kind of in depth, I honestly may have to look into some of them and watch some. I just realized I skipped over a breaking news segment, so let's get back to that one. The University of Kentucky has their head coach as they hire BYU head coach and 1996 national champion with the University of Kentucky, Mark Pope, as the replacement for John Calipari. Now, Justin, I got to be honest, when I first heard this, I saw Mark Pope and I went, who? But the more I think about it and the more I see of him, the more I kind of love it. Like, sure, BYU has been to the tournament twice in the last 8 years, something like that, under his tenure. So that's not necessarily reassuring. But I mean, what does that mean? That BYU has made it one less game than Kentucky, two less games than Kentucky the last few years? And you are not going to find a coach out there that loves Kentucky more than Mark Pope. That has been so evidently clear in all of his press conferences and everything. That old video of him whenever he was a team captain doing the C-A-T-S, cats, that resurfaced, and it's really funny. Him ripping his suit off and he's got his jersey on underneath it. I really like this hire because I just think it's good to have a coach that is invested in Kentucky when so much of the issues with Kentucky the last several years has been John Calipari seeming to be too invested in getting players to the NBA. It feels like we finally have a coach that is Kentucky first. He wants Kentucky to win. He wants Kentucky to succeed. And, I think having that passion is going to really do wonders for the school, and it's going to make Kentucky mean something to college basketball again, as opposed to Kentucky just meaning a stepping stone to the NBA. Outside of that, I don't really have a whole lot of thoughts on how I think he's going to do. I think I want to give him an actual chance to get a team around him, because right now I don't think we have any returning players. Everyone is either transferred or declared. And then Reed Shepherd and one other person are undecided. But
Rob Dillingham.
I think it's Dillingham, yeah. But overall, I want to see him get a recruiting class in, see what he can do, because I think, Kentucky may start out not attracting the top names like they had been the past few years, but I think we'll get to see some kids that maybe wouldn't get an opportunity, and even some homegrown kids shine. And I don't know, it just feels like a nice, refreshing direction for the university, but. I'm curious as to your thoughts on this too, because I know you're not necessarily you're not the biggest Kentucky fan, but they're definitely one of the college teams you root for, because I'll just keep it $150 with you. Ohio State's basketball team is leaving a little to be desired right now. So,
and so is UC. So
yeah.
Hey, they made the Elite Eight of the NIT.
Heck yeah,
both
dude.
of them did.
Heck yeah, dude. Plot twist: they played each other and both lost.
Right. But no, I think it's a solid hire. Like you said, I think it's a guy that's going to put Kentucky first. It just felt like Kentucky was just kind of a clog, and just trying to, or not a clog, a cog in the machine that was just trying to pump out NBA talent, rather than trying to win a championship. And I think that this is going to change that perspective around Kentucky. I will say, though, I have a feeling there's probably going to be some growing pains to begin. I won't be shocked if, the first couple of years they probably miss the tournament, unless they just start getting some serious talent through the transfer portal. I have a feeling there's probably going to be a little bit of growing pains.
Yeah.
But I think that if they can get past that, that I think he'll have some success, and being able to kind of turn around the image that is Kentucky basketball right now, which, as it currently stands, is not fantastic.
No, and that was kind of my argument with. Moving on from Cal in the first place, is people were like, well, what are you going to replace him with? Who's going to do a better job? And it's well, It ain't like he was exactly bringing home titles every other year.
Yeah.
So, one of my friends just texted me that the Cowboys signed Royce Freeman. And I'm
Isn't
just,
he? Is he a running back?
yeah. Which
Could not tell you what
I
team
mean,
he played on.
I guess they needed one, but who?
I
Oh
thought Deuce
gosh.
Vaughn was going to carry the load for them.
Well, I mean, hey, to be fair, that's actually a pretty effective strategy because people wouldn't be able to see him running around the field because he's underneath
Sure, he is
everyone,
like
so he
5'4".
could just tuck and run under everybody. But yeah, so that's kind of all of the breaking news. We are definitely gonna have a shorter episode this week, which is fine. Like I
That's all
said, it's
right.
kind of a down week. We've had a lot of we've had a lot of big grinds with this podcast the last few months, so it's fun to have some shorter episodes and have some fun content. Everyone make sure, speaking of which, that you check us out on TikTok and Instagram at The Rundown. And also, if sports betting is your thing, Justin over here has a new TikTok channel, which we'll get into in a little bit, where he details his like bets and his like thinking behind picking the teams that he does and like the betting lines and things that he does. I worded that very poorly, but you'll do a much better job. But I just wanted to give you a little shout out, help promote you. But so let's get into it. We've got the NBA play-in happening currently right now. The Lakers and the Pelicans are playing, and the last I looked, I think
The Lakers are up 10 at
they're
halftime.
up 10 at half. I knew they were up by a bit when I looked last. So hopefully,
Yeah, they went on like a 20-7 run to close the half.
yeah. So I want to hit a quick point before we actually talk about the games. I have seen so many talking heads out there being like, "Oh, the Lakers should purposely lose game 1 of the play-in so that they can get the 8 seed and play the Thunder instead of the Nuggets." Why in the hell would that be an easier matchup for the Lakers? The Lakers match up with the Nuggets like decently well because of size, and the Nuggets don't play particularly fast. The Thunder are all young. Like Shea gonna be out there running circles around LeBron, and I love LeBron. Like Shea, like they gonna be out there killing them. So I don't understand this like Oklahoma City Thunder hate of like why that should just be an easier matchup. I mean, the Thunder are the 1 seed for a reason. Like I know the knock against them is that they're young, they're inexperienced, but let's not act like they're just gonna go get swept. So I don't know. I wanted to talk about this with you because like I just don't subscribe to the losing on purpose mentality. Like I couldn't do it.
It's so bad for the sport.
It's so terrible for the sport because then it's like, you remember a few years ago when everybody was talking about how I think it was Joel Embiid was trying to duck the Bucks or something like that. There was some hate around him, and then they were
He was trying to duck the Nuggets. He hasn't played a game in Denver for like
right. That's what it
4 years.
Yeah, and then there was something else though, where it was like somebody was trying to duck Boston or something like that. Anyway, that's irrelevant. But I just like everybody wants to compete, right? And for me, it's like I can't purposely lose because, I feel like it would take some validity away from my title if it's like, oh, I won the title because I got to play the Thunder. I got to play, and like, no offense to the Thunder, but that was just the example. Like, the Thunder are the easier matchup. So I got to play the Thunder. That was tough. And then I got to play, let's say, I don't know, the Timberwolves.
Yeah, they would play either the Mavs or the Clippers in the second round.
Okay, so say the Clippers upset the Mavs, and then they do the typical Clippers thing and get killed. I got to play the Clippers. Which Kawhi's hurt, so he may not even be able to play in the playoffs. And then I get to play like the Golden State Warriors or something like that. Just an easy route to the finals. Like I just feel like that takes away so much from like the story of the championship. Like it would be a much better story if the Lakers somehow pull it off and they beat the defending champions that have their number and then make a deep playoff run. I just like that kind of talk disgusts me, and honestly, it frustrates me to no end that like all the talking heads are like proponents of that.
Yeah. Yeah, my thinking on this is like you worked so hard to get to this point to avoid that 9-10 matchup, and you worked so hard, you played your ass off down the stretch of this season just to lose this game against the Pelicans potentially, and then put yourself in a do or die, a win or go home game against either the Kings or the Warriors, and you lose that game, you will be the laughing stock of the NBA.
Oh yeah,
Like if you were to intentionally lose to the Pelicans and then you lose that second matchup to either the Warriors or the Kings, you will be laughed at.
because you already know that if you lose on purpose and get the Warriors in that second game, the Warriors are going to do exactly what they did to you the last time you played them, where they shoot like 52 for 52 from three and run you off the court. Like,
Yeah.
they're just going to have some historic shooting.
Right. And like I understand the whole wanting to play OKC because they're inexperienced and they're young, and maybe the Lakers do match up better with the Thunder, just because the Lakers have more size
And the Thunder don't have Jokic.
that too. But let's be honest, LeBron and AD are not getting any younger.
No, sir.
LeBron is 40 years old. He has so much mileage on his legs.
And do you really
So
want to
you
make him
want
play one
to-
more game? Like,
Yeah, and not only that, but wouldn't you rather play Denver when you are the freshest, when he hasn't accrued all of the because say they do play the Thunder in the first round, they win that, and then they play the Mavericks and they win that. So and say each of those series goes 6 or 7 games. So say they've played 13 games. If you include the play-in, that's 14. Actually, they'd have to play 2 games to get the 8 seed. So that's 15 extra games that you will have played going into the Western Conference Finals.
yeah, you get to the Western
that's
Conference
15
Finals.
more games. Multiply that by 40. That's what? I don't feel like doing math right now. 600 minutes that you're playing? That's 600 plus minutes that Anthony Davis and LeBron are playing before they face the toughest competition in Denver. Wouldn't you rather face them in the first round where your legs are fresh, you've only played at this point, if they win this game, it would be one game, and then you get a series against them where you're the freshest that you're going to be throughout the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, you'd think so.
And if you're so scared of Denver,
You're not
if
a
you're so
championship
scared of
team.
them, exactly. Your odds are, if you're so scared and you're trying to duck them, you're gonna have to see them eventually. Like if you think Denver's that good where you're trying to duck them, you're gonna end up seeing them eventually anyway.
Exactly.
So it's
you might
like,
as well
why
get it
not
over
just
with.
try to slay that dragon as soon as possible when you're the
Yeah.
freshest?
Yeah, you might as well get it over with. So 100% with you.
Yeah, that's my thoughts. I just think that's a goofy take.
Also, I looked it up. LeBron is 39 until December 30th.
Okay, so he's 39 in 4 months.
And well, yeah. Yeah, you were like, he's 40, and I'm over here like, actually.
Nice guy.
Yeah, so out of these 4 play-in teams, the Pelicans, the Lakers, the Kings, and the Warriors, which one of them do you think has the best chance to make a deep playoff run? And why is it the Lakers?
I actually don't think it's the Lakers. I think that if they do hold on to win this game against the Pelicans, and they end up facing the Nuggets, I just think that they're gonna be a first round exit. As I am speaking, LeBron is writhing in pain on the court, holding his elbow.
Really?
Yeah,
Dang.
he just took a charge from Zion and landed on his elbow.
Took a charge from Zion. Damn, he just got hit by a building.
Dude, right? So gonna have to watch and see how that unfolds, but it does not look good. But no, I'm gonna have to say whoever faces the Thunder. So I have a feeling it's probably gonna be the Warriors. I think they have the best chance, just because of the Thunder's inexperience. And if it is the Warriors, we've seen they have championship DNA. They have a championship level coach. They have so much playoff experience. So So I just think they have the best shot to make it run. LeBron is okay, by the way. He is still on the court.
Oh, good.
So he's good. He's still kind of favoring his arm a little bit, but he looks to be okay.
Yeah, I'll be honest.
But yeah, anyway, back to your question, it is the Warriors.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'll be honest. I don't think the Kings have a chance to make it out of the play-in. If they didn't have injuries, I think they'd be a lot better suited. But the Kings, I think, are just lucky to be in the conversation.
It's also wild for the Kings. They lost. They won 48 games last year and they were the 3 seed. They won 46 this year.
And they're the 9.
And they're the 9 seed. That's insane.
Well, to be fair,
they lost 2 more games. They lost 2 more games. And they dropped 6 spots in the West.
Well, to be fair, if the Thunder had lost 2 more games, they'd have been like the 5 seed.
True. No, they would have just been the 3. They had like a 5-game lead over the Clippers for the 4.
Okay. Well, still. Sorry, I was laughing a second ago before we get on to the second part of this topic because Dylan Brooks on the Team USA roster, like he was talking about it, and he said, "I honestly think it's funny. All these guys teaming up just to try to beat me in Canada. We'll see what happens. I feel like Drake. Drop a give me 50."
Hey, Team Canada with Dylan Brooks, Lou Dort, and SGA. I mean, watch out. All right, moving on.
Yeah. So I think you actually had a couple questions now. For this.
Yeah, I figured we'd we talked about the West for a little bit, so let's get on over to the East.
Yeah.
First up, we have the 76ers and the Heat, in the 7-8 matchup, and then in the 9-10 tomorrow we have the Bulls and the Hawks. So my question is that with Joel Embiid healthy and coming back, are the 76ers the scariest play-in team that we have seen since the start of this tournament?
Oh, hell yeah. Are you kidding?
Like that? Yeah, they're scary.
What kind of a dumb question is that? No. Your question's not dumb. I think
we did see like the Lakers in the play-in tournament go all the way to the Western Conference Finals. The Heat in the play-in tournament last year.
And I was going to say, if you want me to be completely honest, I think the 76ers are due for a Lakers-esque run from last year. Like I think that's what they'll do this year. I think we see an easy Eastern Conference Finals run. But if they run into Boston, they're probably going to get run off the court. No offense to Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid, but
yeah. Speaking of the Heat, assuming that they make it out of the play-in, do you think that they can scare Boston at all like they did in the Eastern Conference Finals last year? Or do you think that series just is not even going to be close?
That series shouldn't be close. Let me just get that out of the way. That it should not be close.
That's a good preface.
But we've also seen Jimmy Butler turn into freaking prime Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Magic Johnson, and Steph Curry in the playoffs. So I think Boston should be weary of Miami. I don't necessarily think they should be scared just because Miami right now feels like Jimmy Butler and then a bunch of who? I mean, I know Bam is there, but
they got Tyler Hero and Kyle Lowry, who's like 100 years old.
300.
I have spoken.
Yeah, that's true.
And Terry. Oh no, they don't have Kyle Lowry anymore. They have Terry Rozier.
See, but that unit has not meshed really well this year, I don't think, and they don't really scare me that much. So it's one of those. I think if Boston takes their foot off the gas, like they did, what was it, last year? Or no,
yeah.
they came back and almost won, and then Jason Tatum got hurt 5 seconds into Game 7, right?
I don't remember.
Anyway, yeah, something like that. But, yeah, no, this game this should not be close. But I think if Boston doesn't take it seriously, like if they just act like, oh, we're going to the finals, I could see Miami pulling off the upset. But the East should really just be teams fighting to lose to Boston in the conference finals.
True.
Kind of like the years that Cleveland was there, and it was Boston and Washington fighting over who was going to go get swept by LeBron. All right. Well, I mentioned your TikTok earlier, gave you a shout out, and now we are going to get a little sneak peek at that. kind of what content people can expect from you over there. We are introducing a segment called Tale with Tavner, meaning or matching the name of your TikTok channel. So, Justin, take it away, my friend.
Yeah, so in this channel, we've been really going at the MLB just because we're in full swing in that right now. And I know that the last couple of weeks in the NBA are usually just kind of wonky, so I've been trying to stay away from that. But with the NBA playoffs ramping up, I figured we should go ahead and pick that back up. And of course, I'll still have MLB picks, but I just try to detail my picks with sound reasoning, recent trends that I've seen from these teams, and just try to give as much research backed betting as I can. So, with that being said, I am starting a series where I am previewing all of the first round matchups and giving who I think will win and roughly in about how many games. So, I guess I'm going to spoil that with this TikTok, so that's fine. So we will start out in the East. These are obviously assumptions that I'm making based on the play-in tournament games. So with that being said, let's get into it.
Hey, just share this clip to your TikTok page and use it as the content.
There you go. But first up, I'm going to run the Celtics over the Heat, and I'm going to choose the Celtics in 5. I think they win this series 4-1. I just think they have a better built team to take down Miami this year. With the additions of Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis, I think that they can match up better with Miami, even if Jimmy Butler decides to go just nuclear. I think the Celtics are just going to overpower the Heat in this series. Next up, I'm going to have the Knicks and the Sixers. And I have the Sixers winning in 7 games.
Good
I
series.
think with the return of a healthy Joel Embiid, and Joel Embiid not having a bunch of miles on his legs because of his injury, and he's going to be fresher than anybody else on the court. Meanwhile, the Knicks have dealt with just a slew of injuries. Randall's out for the year. Anunoby's out for potentially the season as well. And while Jalen Brunson is a fantastic player, I just don't think he's going to be enough to propel the Knicks in this series.
If the Knicks had everyone healthy, I think they'd win in 3.
Probably. Wait a second. Next up, for the Bucks and the Pacers, I have the Indiana Pacers winning in 7.
Spicy.
I have already outlined this in one of my videos, but I just think that because of Giannis potentially missing the first 2 games of this series, the Pacers have also beaten the Bucks 4 of 5 times this year, and that's because they run at just like an electric pace. And if you think about it, it makes sense because Milwaukee is a big and a slow team. So Indiana is able to push the tempo to a pace that the Bucks are just not comfortable with. And the Bucks also have Doc Rivers, so
So what you're saying is the Bucks are going to go up 3-1 and then lose 4-3.
exactly.
Cool.
And then finally in the East, we have the Cavs and the Magic. I have the Cavs winning this game in 6. I just think with the experience that they have between Donovan Mitchell and the rest of that team, with a defensive superstar in Evan Mobley and some good key pieces around them, that I just think it's going to be too much for the Magic. I think the Magic are a little ahead of pace of where they thought they would be right now. And I think it's a good story. I just don't think they have this. I just don't think they have the experience yet
They feel like
to be able to make a deep run.
They feel like a year or 2 away, don't they?
Yeah. I think 2 years from now they could be a really solid contender, contending for that top 2, 3, 4 spot in the East. Right. So those are my picks for the Eastern Conference first round. In the West, this is the assumption that the Warriors are going to beat the Kings and then beat the Pelicans. So I have the Warriors taking that 8 spot, meaning that they will match up with the Thunder, and I have the Thunder winning in 6. I know that I said Yeah, I know that I said that I think the Warriors have the best chance, but just because I think they have the best chance doesn't mean I necessarily think it's going to happen.
Having a chance and doing
Um,
it are two separate things.
Precisely. I just think the Thunder are younger, and you think about the Warriors, and all of their key pieces are 34, 35, 36 years old. All of the key pieces for the Thunder are 22, 23, 24. And I know they don't have that championship experience in them, but I just think the the youth and the freshness that they're going to bring to the table is going to be able to be enough to beat the Warriors.
For sure.
Next up in the West, I have the Lakers obviously beating the Pelicans, which they're currently up 16 right now with 7 minutes left in the third. So I have the Nuggets and the Lakers, and I have the Nuggets winning in six. I think this is a closer series than what it was last year. I think the Lakers are obviously able to get a few just because of they're going to be fresher than they were when they faced up or faced off against them last year.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think the Nuggets they're just a juggernaut, man. They're just a juggernaut. Like they just have dudes everywhere, and they have a deep bench. And I'm gonna say it, they have the best player in the NBA right now.
They do.
I think that gives them the edge.
I would agree.
Next up, we have the 3-6 matchup between the Timberwolves and the Suns. I had the Phoenix Suns winning in 7.
Actually,
I think the
actually,
Timberwolves.
you just have the Phoenix Sun winning in 7.
Yeah, just the one Sun.
Yeah.
just the Phoenix one Sun is going to win this. But no, I think that the Timberwolves are a little young. They've been dealing with some injuries. I know Cat's back, but I don't know. It's just something about the Suns. Their defense has gotten so much better, and I think that the Timberwolves are going to make this an interesting series. But I think come Game 6 and 7, it's just going to be Kevin Durant, man. Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, like those two guys are they're going to take over.
Kevin
They're
Durant
going to do what
with the bucket.
they're going to do what it has to. They're going to do what it takes to propel the Suns to get to the second round. And then finally, we have the 4-5 matchup between the Clippers and the Dallas Mavericks. I have the Mavericks winning in 7. I think their defense the last like 3-4 weeks of the season, since they started giving Gafford and PJ Washington more minutes, it genuinely is the best in the league over the last like 4 weeks. They have been playing fantastic defense, which in the playoffs, defense ramps up, and that's what they've been showing they are capable of doing. Earlier in the season, we were kind of like, oh, their defense is a little shoddy, we don't know, but they've proven that they can play defense. And meanwhile, for the Clippers, Kawhi's been hurt, and he's still hurt. He may come back. I think I saw that he practiced today, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be 100% ready to go for the entire series. So I think the Mavs are able to steal a few. I won't be shocked if the Mavs win this in less games. But I'm choosing the Clippers to push it to 7 just because of their experience. But I think the Mavs are ultimately able to get it done.
All right, I like your picks there. I think, I'll reveal this in our hot takes here in just a second. But actually, why don't I get us into that? But first, so that was a sneak peek of Tailing with Tavner. Tail with Tavner is the name of your account, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a sneak peek of Tail with Tavner. Be sure to follow him on TikTok. Get a little look into his bets and why he picks what he does, and should have some fun tales, and hopefully some people make some money with you. So,
yeah.
Alrighty, let's move on to hot takes. My first hot take, and we will just start it right out. So the Los Angeles Clippers are getting a new arena, right? I think they open their next season in their new arena. If they lose to the Mavericks, they will be doing that with people other than Kawhi and Paul George, because I think they'll blow it up. They lose in the first round, they're blowing it up. Because at this point, you're what, 4-5 years with Kawhi and Paul George? And what do you have to show with it? Or what do you have to show for it? Paul George had one good performance and got you to the Western Conference Finals for the first time in history once. You have one of the most embarrassing broadcaster calls in NBA history. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, in the bubble in 2020, the Clippers were in the process of blowing a 3-1 lead. They were in the process of blowing 3 straight games of having double-digit leads in the fourth quarter. And Paul George...
Wasn't that to the Mavericks?
It was to... no, it was to the Nuggets.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Because they beat the Mavericks in 7. Because Luka forced a game 7. But Mike Breen was on the call, and I remember it like it was yesterday. Paul George, they had a swing pass go out to the middle to, I think it was Reggie Jackson at the time. And then he kicked it out to Paul George in the corner, who pulled up for 3 as they were down by like 18. And Mike Breen goes, George, way off, hits the side of the backboard. And that's like your second biggest highlight of their tenure. So I think they're opening their new arena next year with new superstar players.
Wow. All right. My first hot take is that the Oklahoma City Thunder, I know I'm a fan, but they will make the Western Conference Finals.
Boo, I said it first.
I know. But apparently it's a hot take now that the number 1 seed's going to make the Western Conference Finals. Apparently that's a hot take because they're young, because they're inexperienced. No. They're the number 1 seed for a reason. And if you want to be like, oh, well, the defense ramps up and Shea's not going to be able to play his style of bat. Oklahoma City plays like the 5th best. They have like, I'm pretty sure they're top 5, top 6, top 7 in offensive and defensive rating this year. They're a good team. I don't understand why everyone's like, oh, they're going to be an easy out for anybody because they're young. Like, they're the number 1 seed for a reason.
That's what they used to say. That's what they used to say when I'd go out there and kickball.
Right.
Easy out, and then I'd sit there and just nail one.
But I just don't understand where it's like what are we getting at here? Why are we saying that the number 1 seed is just like an automatic, they're not making it to the Western Conference Finals? Like, no shot. They're going to get swept by the Mavs. They're going to get swept by the Clippers. They're going to get swept by whoever. Like, what are we talking about? Like, I just don't understand it.
I don't know. Oh, boy. My second hot take is one that makes me very sad. LeBron James and Steph Curry will never win another NBA title. And I hate that. Like, I hate it so much because that was such a big part of, like, the last, honestly, like 10, 15 years for me is watching them win titles. But obviously everything comes to an end, and I think that Steph Curry cannot win in Golden State. I think I now agree with Nick Wright that him winning and him staying in Golden State are mutually exclusive because Golden State just doesn't have the pieces to build around him right now. And so if he truly wants to win another ring, I think he's going to have to do that elsewhere because he's got 2, maybe 3 good years left. And that, like, I think Jonathan Kuminga is going to be a great NBA player, but he's still a year or 2 away. And Brandon Podziemski is a great player. He's Clay 2.0, but he's 2 to 3 years away. And so I think for Steph to win, he's going to have to win elsewhere, and I just don't know that he wants to go elsewhere. I truly believe that he wants to be a Warrior for life, and so his free agency is one that's going to be really interesting because I just don't know. As far as LeBron, I mean, we said it earlier, dude is pushing 40. The Lakers are not going to win a championship this year because the Nuggets exist. And unless LeBron signs with like Golden State on the cheap, or just decides, hell, I can't beat Jokic, so I'm gonna go join him. Unless LeBron just gets on a fantastic team, maybe they draft Bronny and he goes to sign there to play with them, I don't think he's winning the title either. So as much as that pains me, that is my second hot take, is that we have already seen the last championship for LeBron James and Steph Curry.
Dang. Sad day. My final hot take in this section is that the Boston Celtics will not make the NBA Finals.
Justin.
You heard it here first. They're not going to the finals.
Is the man...
It's not happening. They're going to choke like they do every year. They're not going to the NBA Finals. Mark it. I'm the first one that said it. I am the only one that has the balls to say it. The Celtics are not going to the finals. It's not happening.
You said that with your whole chest, too.
I did.
Oh, boy.
Is that going to go down as potentially the Ravens aren't making the playoffs and Mahomes is a system quarterback?
Oh, absolutely.
Hot take? Probably.
Absolutely.
If it comes true, you heard it here first.
If it comes true, I'll sing the praises of Justin Tavner.
You're damn right.
No, I mean, hey, you said it with your whole chest, and I respect it. So, Justin, what a fun episode. It's been a good one.
Yeah.
It's been a good one.
Not a whole lot of content, but I feel like we're able to squeeze the juice out of it.
Dog, we made it 45 minutes. Like we're pushing 47. So it was a good episode. I think we'll wrap it up here though. Excited for the playoffs to start. And then maybe you'll convince me to be a Reds fan. We'll see. But that's all I have today. So until next time, thank you guys so much for listening. Make sure you check us out on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok at The Rundown Sports Pod. You can also find us wherever you get your podcasts. And like I said earlier, make sure you check out Tale with Tavner on TikTok for any of your NBA picks and MLB picks. So until next time, guys, that's all we have. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll catch y'all later.